We're not seeking a compromise. We're seeking, your ideal dog. And it really is out there. You just have to want it bad enough and search hard enough and look long enough to find it. Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of the Pawdoption Guide Podcast. I am your host, Bethany Muir, and this is your one-stop shop for the knowledge and advice you need to adopt and integrate the rescue dog of your dreams. Man, I cannot believe that we're already at 4. It's kind of crazy. It's going by so fast already, and I am just loving the feedback I'm getting from the listeners, so keep sending that my way. I love to hear good and bad feedback so I can make this podcast as awesome as possible. Today, we're talking about the biggest mistakes I see people make when they adopt a dog. I saw this in the vet clinic, at work, as an RVT, people coming in with their new rescue dogs, and I would just think, wow, you're so mismatched. Like, how did that happen? How did you get paired with this dog? And today, I think that rescues are doing a pretty good job at trying to make sure they're getting the most compatible match for people when they go through applications and do the rescue interview process. But there's still some really big mistakes that I'm seeing the adopters make. So I lay a few of them out here in this episode, and I'm sure there's plenty more to share, but these are the main ones that I think could really change people's success rates with pet adoption, specifically dog adoption. So here they are. Mistake number 1, people start without a dream. How can you really know what you want if you haven't sat down and thought about your goals? It's just like if you're in a career and you're just taking the jobs that are coming your way, how do you really reach that end goal if you don't know it and if you're not working to achieve it all along, right? So I think that when people think about adopting a pet, they don't really understand that this could be a dream that you're fulfilling here. Most people dream of owning a dog one day, and that's why they go out and seek adopting a dog at some point. So why not treat it like a goal and really sit down and think about what's the absolute ideal dream dog for you? Like, what is that dog you've been fantasizing about owning all your life? Write that down. What are their characteristics? What personality traits do they have? What's their energy level like? What do they look like? All those things are important. And then think about what are your needs. So there's your wants, but then what do you absolutely need? What will and won't go with your current lifestyle? Because those are really non-negotiables, and that's really helpful in narrowing down what your dream dog is. So, lots of people think that they'll adjust their lifestyle to fit their dog. If they get a really energetic dog, okay, well, we'll just run it every day if we have to. Well, that really doesn't set yourself up for success, because most people aren't able to change their lifestyles that way. There's reasons why your routines are the way you are, and sometimes they're not healthy routines, but it's especially when it involves your daily exercise regime, that is something that I think a lot of us go up and down and up and down about. So not a good idea to, say, I'm just going to match whatever this dog needs. Think about what your needs are and what your ideal dog is like, and then go from there. 2, people go off course. After setting out with an ideal dog in their mind and this plan, this dream of, this is what the whole family would love to have, they easily waver their wants based on what they see out there. So this is like if you go to a car lot and you really want a Mustang, but all you see are, Jeeps. Then you go, well, I guess maybe I could like a Jeep. Well, but that's not what you want, is it? And is that really what was suiting your needs, or is that just what's out there? You really do need to be patient enough to wait for that further inventory, something at least closer to what you were dreaming of, because that Jeep is nothing like that Mustang. So don't waver off course so easily. We're not seeking a compromise. We're seeking, your ideal dog, and it really is out there. You just have to want it bad enough and search hard enough and look long enough to find it. The third biggest mistake people make when they're adopting a dog is having a lack of curiosity. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to someone who's in the process of looking at a dog with a rescue or a shelter, and I just keep feeding them questions. Well, have you asked them this? Have you asked them that? And these people just have not asked a single question. They're just taking everything as they're being told. And I really want you to get curious about that dog that you're looking into owning, because you don't want to get yourself in over your head. Okay? You want to get a dog that is at appropriate level for you to handle in terms of training and that. And, occasionally people are really up for a difficult dog like I was when I adopted my Dalmatian Rory. But for the most part, the average, especially the first-time dog adopter, is not going to want a dog that has a lot of work ahead of them. So this is where I think seeking out answers with lots and lots of questions when you're past the application phase and you're getting information on the dog. So usually that's sometimes in a rescue interview, or they'll set up a call with the foster parent. That's where you really need to make sure you're asking questions. You're not just taking everything as it comes at you, because, for instance, if they say in the profile that the dog's not good with dogs, and you go, okay, that's fine, I don't have another dog, so what does that matter? Well, it does matter, because if you go on a walk and you see another dog and they are lunging at that other dog and you can barely control the dog, it's a problem, because that's your safety at risk. And now you need to train that dog to walk properly on leash with those distractions. And that could be a really difficult task. So those questions, you may think it's just, well, I don't have a dog, no biggie. Well, that actually really matters. And that's the same with kids. If they say they don't do well with kids, and then you go, well, I have kids in the home occasionally, and they say, well, that's not a big deal then. Well, I want to hear what exactly led you to understand that this dog wasn't okay with kids. Was there a bite history? Is the dog really antsy and running in circles every time kids are over? Is it growling? This, again, is going to set you up for success in the future, because you know what you're getting yourself into. And again, it's not really about, the dog isn't perfect, I shouldn't adopt it. That's not why I'm asking you to ask questions. I want you to ask questions so you're informed about the dog you're getting, because that is going to ensure that you're not disappointed when you find things are coming up following adoption that you need to manage. Fourth, people wait for things to fall in their lap. So because they've been doing some applications and not really getting responses, they just feel like, oh, it's too hard. You know what? When the right time comes, someone will just be looking to get rid of their dog, and they'll just reach out, and then it'll just all work out. That dog will just happen into our life. Well, that's really nice. And I've had that certainly occur in my lifetime. But if you are dreaming of owning a dog, you can make it happen for yourself. There's no reason to give up. This is possible for you, but you need to invest your time and money into the right one by going with your gut, okay? So sometimes when those dogs fall into our laps, they're not always the right fit for us. It's more like we make the situation fit. And that's not necessarily the best scenario for anyone in that case, right? Because the dog's not necessarily going to get all of its needs met, and you might not either. So I think it's better to formulate your wants, your ideal dog, and then go after it rather than just, I'll take whatever comes my way. Some people are good that way and you get lucky, but I have been so satisfied by the dogs that I chose based on what I was looking for that I really fulfilled those dreams and those goals of mine, that I think everyone should be able to have that if they want it. Number 5, love at first sight. This is something that was even more popular when shelters were the only way of adopting a dog. Everyone had to walk through the shelter and then they would see the dog and just lock eyes, and it didn't matter what that dog's personality was. They were taking that dog home because they just couldn't stand to leave there and have that dog stay in the shelter. Well, I always just kind of laughed at that because I know that that's not the best situation for that dog or you. Again, the best situation is getting a compatible dog, a dog that suits your lifestyle and that is what you want and need, and vice versa for them. An owner that fits their lifestyle and has what they want and need. That's the best bond. That's the best fit for a forever home. So, that love at first sight can happen with dogs that you're compatible with. But, when you're going on Pet Finder and you see the profile picture and right away you're like, I have to have that dog. And then you see red flags all the way down their profile, but you just go, but the dog's so cute. I don't care how bad it is. I just want it. I'll make it happy. It just doesn't matter. Well, that's not a good scenario. Let's keep looking. I really want you to fall in love with that dog's Pet Finder profile, not with their picture first. So fall in love with their profile and be satisfied by that picture. And then when you do the meet and greet, that's where the real love connection can happen, that's when you can really get to know them. That's the moment where you want to have that aha moment, right? But you may be wasting your time if you just fall in love with the dog that you see the picture of and, they're really not suited to you. Again, rescues are doing a really good job at trying to filter out people who aren't compatible with dogs, but some people have the tendency to try and adjust their application to make themselves compatible when they really aren't. So don't do that. There will be a perfect dog for you. So another and one of the last biggest mistakes I see people make when adopting a dog is getting lazy. As these behaviors start cropping up that they obviously haven't had to deal with yet and might be minor behaviors, they don't really deal with them. They just think, this is just the way the dog is. So your dog may be barking all the time or not good on leash, dog aggressive, or not very playful, or not affectionate, or not very good with handling, or doesn't like the vet clinic. There can be so many little things that come up with your dog after you adopt it. That really does both of you a huge disservice if you don't help them reach their potential. So it's so important that you keep seeking answers. You keep seeking solutions for those things that may start out minor. They can actually grow and become bigger behavior issues. If you don't deal with the dog that's barking at this or that, and you don't find out why exactly they're barking, then that can cause you to have a dog that barks all the time because you've never dealt with that behavior. Of course, if there's so many things and you feel overwhelmed, then you need to just start with one. So I always suggest, what is the most important thing that you can't handle or you need to be better right now? For a lot of people, that starts with their walking on leash, They need to be able to safely walk their dog for exercise every day, for bathroom breaks sometimes. And so that can be a really crucial thing to fix. So sometimes it's that first, and then it's the barking, or then it's the meeting strangers, or then it's, the introductions to people in the home or whatever. But just start with one, work on that, and then you can kind of add other things to what you're working on. And it just has to be, 2 5-minute sessions a day or 1 5-minute session a day to really start to make some progress there. And if you need to seek out a professional trainer, do it, because making that progress, again, just can make a world of difference for you in your bond with your pet, and help you have better success with that adoption overall. So don't get lazy. Expect to do the work after you've adopted that pet, and know that that's something that I have very much a part of my Pawdoption Guide membership, which is going to launch in 2022. And that's the whole integration aspect. I don't just stop helping people once they get that dog into their home. I think that's when the real work starts. And that's where I'm there to help people with things like dog walking and certain dog behaviors that come up that they need solutions for. So you think you're ready to get a dog, but you want to be certain and make sure that you've thought of everything. You couldn't be in better hands. I've got a checklist for you that covers all of your bases before starting your dog adoption journey. I'll take you through budgeting considerations, your vision, including your wants and needs, the logistics of dog ownership as it correlates with your lifestyle. And did I mention it's also great preparation for filling out dog adoption applications? So prep now, and you'll save yourself some homework when you eventually start your rescue dog search. Head on over to pawdoptionguide.com, find helpful tools, and you'll find the Are You Ready to Get a Dog checklist. So let's recap. Today we talked about the biggest mistakes I see people making when they adopt a dog. And so number 1 was they start without a plan. They don't have a dream, and they just think, oh, I like the way this dog looks. Well, that's not good enough. I beg of you, please start again. 2, they go off course. They just are easily wavered from their plan, and that is no way to be. If you want great success with pet adoption, I want you to shoot for the stars. Don't compromise on the big stuff. 3, lack of curiosity, not asking questions. Please ask the questions. I think that that's a good sign in the eyes of a rescue or shelter, because they know that you want to be prepared, and that is never a bad thing. Number 5, it's love at first sight, and that's all she wrote. That is not the best way to find a compatible dog that is going to be in its forever home. So quit doing that, please. And number 6, they get lazy. People get lazy following dog adoption and think that they don't have to put in the work to get their dog to be that dream dog. Your dog can be 80% great, but have 20% potential when it comes to you. And if you don't work toward achieving that goal, or work toward achieving some progress with their training, then, you're really just not going to be as satisfied, and neither is your dog. So that is the 6 biggest mistakes I see people make. And the last thing I wanted to mention is losing patience, which I kind of bring up all the time, but it just always comes around. With the dog adoption process right now, it is not as fast as it used to be, and people just aren't over it. This is the new norm. Let's get used to it, and understand that dreams don't happen overnight. So if you want a great rescue dog, then you need to be patient for the right dog, the right scenario, and the right timing to occur. So if you're truly ready to get a dog, there should be no time limit on your search, and thus you need to be more patient and understand that it will take time. This is the best way to get everything that you've dreamed of, okay? Auguste Rodin said it best when he said, patience is also a form of action. So let me leave you with that. Don't make the mistake of being impatient, because finding that special rescue dog is a reward like no other. I hope today's episode was insightful and that you'll tune into the next one. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to give it a review on whatever platform you're listening to it on. And if you'd love to learn more about me and what I'm doing at Pawdoption Guide, head on over to Instagram, where I'm most active, or my Facebook page at Pawdoption Guide. Thanks for joining me today. I can't wait to be with you again next week.